What is up, Scrub Fam? I am back with a video here on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Yeah, it's 1:30. I just took my pre-workout. I'm about to go to the gym, and it's been a while since I did a video for you guys. And the main reason why is because after I got back from San Jose, I didn't do a lot of playing. Even though, of course, the new format had opened up. But, I mean, I'd been so accustomed to playing in a world where Mecha Frieza wasn't really a thing, because we did a lot of that in testing because we wanted to figure out other decks besides Mecha, that when I got back, I really didn't feel like putting a lot of time and effort into playing more games. But I've started to pick things back up. I've been messing around with a few lists, tweaking some lists, and looking at all the different builds online. And so I decided to take my crack at a version of a green-black cell deck. This is the deck list that I came up with. Of course, like I said, after exploring all the lists that were online, making a few of my own, making some tweaks here and there, seeing some things that I liked. This is the list that I came up with a little bit of spice. There's not really too much, but if you are the type of person that likes to go to your locals and wipe smiles off of people's faces, this is the deck for you, because this deck does that. So the thing about this deck that makes it so powerful right now is that with the downswing of Mecha Frieza, which Mecha Frieza is not bad, and Mecha Frieza is not out of the format, a lot of people are just overcorrecting since the errata, and they're refusing to play yellow in general, which is just a huge mistake because Cold Bloodlust is still the card that you need in this format for a lot of different effects. And of course, you're going to see people start to shift more towards yellow and blue as they start to realize that barrier in this format is one of the most important things that you can have printed on your cards, as well as indestructible if that's something that comes into play. So a lot of people are making that mistake right now in the format, and this deck really kind of punishes those people. So if you're looking to go to your local shop and just absolutely ruin people's days, like I said, this is the deck for you. A lot of those people that are playing SS3, they're running around, they're having a good old time, a grand old time, and they think that, I can fight through Cell Chain. Well, the thing is with this deck, or the way that I decided to build this deck, is Cell Chain isn't the only thing you have to worry about. Like, a lot of times people will try and play around Cell Chain, and this deck again punishes you for doing so. And the reason why is because you have things like Chilling Terror Android 17, which is tutorable. Often I start the game with it. You have things like Relentless Destruction Mira. You have Stout-Hearted Android 16. So if I ever notice my opponent not, they're pitching their cards away to try and not take damage and not take cards, so my Cell Chain's less effective, I can just grind them out with Miras, 16s, Chilling Terror, and just really constrict their resources, and then I'll awaken early by using something like a TN, and I have no qualms with putting myself down to 3 if that's something that has to happen. The removal that's on TN if your opponent doesn't have barrier is insane, and it allows you to get way ahead, and again, you're constricting your opponent's resources while furthering your own. And so a lot of people make that mistake, and that's like when people saying that Soul Striker was favored against androids. Well, that matchup I really believe came down to the players in set 2. Like, if you were the better player playing that matchup, whether side you were on, you usually had the advantage because you knew how to outplay your opponent, outmaneuver your opponent. The thing is about now, so post set 2, where we got all the set 3 cards, the androids matchup heavily starts to tilt more into androids in Cell's favor because of the tools like Mira and Stout-Hearted 16 and the ways to make the Cell Chain more effective. I've had other builds of this deck that ran different pieces, like it ran some of the Veggies package, it ran some Broly package, and I really, as good as those decks could be, their ceiling was slightly higher, I sacrificed a lot of consistency, and so this version of the deck went back to that consistency. And the way we did that was we run 4 Dr. Giro's Evil Inventor, Dr. Giro Evil's Inventor, which essentially looks at the top 3, picks one android trait card and puts it in your hand, so you can always find your Cell Chain pieces. We run a full 4 of Terrible Creator Android 20. This is great because now you can tutor your 10k boost, which Stout-Hearted 16 is probably the most clutch card in the deck. So you can tutor this or the android piece that you need so you can do your Cell Chain. So having that added consistency has made this deck a lot better. I run a full 6 pieces of Android 17 and 18. I run 2 Chilling Terror, 2 Dreadful Duo, 2 Twin Brother. A lot of people have asked me about this configuration and why I do it, but I really like the the flexibility of having the magical Christmas land, which if this can be like your plan CDF, where you basically have Twin Brother and your Exterminating Energy Android 18 on board, and then you can start to chip away your opponent through these 2 cards. So I like to have that utility, so I play them at 2, and so my 17s are 2, 2, and 2, and then my 18s are just 4 Dreadful Duo because I don't need Twin Sister to untap anything, and then 2 Exterminating Energy because having the 5-drop and the extra 10k is really strong if you need the boost. And another thing that's, I'd say some people may change about this list versus others, is a lot of people will play 4 3-drop cell, 4 5-drop cell, 4 7-drop cell. I'm not about that. I hate drawing my pieces of cell as much as anybody, but the amount of times where I can cell chain and then still cast a 7-drop because there's one still in the deck and I end up drawing into it, and for some reason I get to 7 energy because the game's gone that long. Like, I just like having the extra option to cast these extra pieces. Same thing with the 5-drop. I just like having that extra option to cast these extra pieces, and so I really enjoy that. The 1 speedy surprise attack, honestly, if you look at the entire list itself, the list is very, very tight, and so you only want the negate. I guess the way to phrase this for everybody, because this is the way I think about things, especially when I'm playing a deck that's like similar to this, where this deck is a very linear strategy, very straightforward. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to try and constrict your resources to win the game, and that's all I'm doing. All my cards in the deck have to go dedicated to that, and so I only need the negate when I need the negate. So a lot of times you can do 1 copy, you can do 2 copies. Like, if you wanted to drop another one of the Android 14s, which I'll get into in a second, you can put in a 2nd surprise attack or go with 2 full power energies. Or if you want to go with 2 times Judgment to help feed Overwhelm, that's fine. I don't mind that at all. But the 1 speedy surprise attack provides the utility that you want, where you can pitch a card to get the extra kill on your turn, on your opponent's turn, which I really like. And I like comboing some of this, like this tiny incremental removal that your opponent doesn't really think about with Cell, because the more you can continue to build your advantage by stacking cards under your cell, the better off you're going to be, because your opponent's never going to be able to stick a threat unless it's a barrier-based threat. So I really like a card like this because of its utility, and again, because you only need a gate when you need a gate. 3 combination attack Android 14. This card has been incredibly good in testing. So I know that it's similar to Sun Goten Family of Justice, but the reason why I like this instead is because if you're playing against any deck that plays threats, like, you tap 1, you combo with this, and your opponent has to sack one of their things. And so combined with Cell, a lot of the times you can end up just nuking their whole entire board on a turn that they didn't expect it, and then you just keep yourself way ahead on resources, both on the board and in hand. So this card's been incredibly powerful for me, and I really like playing it at 3 because I do want to see it. I do want to be able to kill whatever my opponent plays on their turn, whether if it's through, Cell's front side, Cell's back side, or just this card. Another thing about this is this helps you get around Cell's limitation on the front side, where you can only kill up to a 3 cost. So if for some reason your opponent plays a 4-drop and it's naked, it's by itself, or even if they have a 1-drop, you can put 1 card underneath your leader to kill the baby drop, and then you can swing combo with this. Like, yeah, you neg 2 yourself, but you also killed 2 of your opponent's things, so they're way ahead. I mean, they're way behind now on onboard resources. So I really like playing this card in this deck. It's incredibly powerful, and it's another hit off of your Dr. Gero, Evil's Inventor. So again, we're maximizing the consistency of this deck. Every single time you tutor or play a Dr. Gero, you're always going to find something. You're always going to be able to move forward. 4 TN because you need to see it. You need to awaken. Cell's the most powerful when he's on his backside, and ends up being the best solo leader in the game on the backside because of the fact that, again, you have the extra card draw and the unconditional removal. It's too good. Only thing that gets around you is barrier, and so you're really limiting the amount of outs that your opponent has to you. Now, if we get into the black cards, there's only 6. We play 4 Relentless Destruction Mira. You can activate this card incredibly easy all the time because of the amount of times you can combo. And another thing, if your opponent just kills one of your cell pieces, so if your opponent kills, say you just have an evolving evil life form cell, so you have the 3-drop cell and an Android 17 underneath it, well, it's 3 cards, so you're going to be able to Relentless Destruction Mirror on your turn. There's sometimes where I'll play against my opponent, I'll go from 3 to 5-drop cell, I'll swing, they'll combo out their whole hand, or not their whole hand, but a lot of their hand. I'll pass turn without even going to the 7. They'll then kill the 5-drop because it was tapped with whatever removal spell they have. And then on my turn, I'll just Relentless Destruction Mirror them, combo with Android 16s, and then their hand is already reduced to nothing, and I haven't had to try. And then I can just play a Chilling Terror and be like, okay, you awaken. Are you going to draw cards or no? and then they can't. So there's a lot of there's a lot of plays with this deck that you can make to where you don't even need to play the cell chain to actually win the game, but you want the cell chain honestly just because you want a undercosted, overstated 30k double striker to help you win the game. And then lastly, the last card in the deck is two Fu, Shrouded in Mystery. A lot of people are going to notice a common trend across this format is I'm jamming this card into a lot of decks. The reason why is because the card just wins you games in so many matchups. Like, people are playing defensive decks with SS3 Goku Leader. Fu Shrouded in Mystery just wins that matchup single-handedly, even without the cell chain. I don't even need the cell chain to win that matchup. I just have to get to turn 6, which is always easy, because you can always live, you can always remove their threats, and then just have 10 cards in the discard pile, which is really easy when you have 7-drop Cell, who, if he dies and you did the full cell chain, that's 5 cards that go to the discard pile. And you have all the cards that you can combo. Like, you can make this your in-game and then easily just beat the opponent because they can't activate any negates. Their super combos do nothing. Like, this card is just incredibly powerful, and with Mecha being eroded, and with people playing yellow base leaders and being more so in the SS3 train, this card is just amazing in this format. It's just going to win you so many games, and I think it's still $1.50 on TCG Player, which is absolutely outrageous because this card is just it's the biggest, baddest bomb in the game, and the fact that you can play it in any deck is just outrageous. So this is my black-green cell deck. Again, I'm trying to make sure that when I do decks for you guys, I'm not doing stuff that's too cute. I want to make sure that this is like, if you are a Spike, you are going to a tournament and your goal is to win the tournament, I want to make sure I'm putting decks out there for you guys that accomplish that feat for you. If you're trying to win a tournament, this is something similar to what you should sleeve up. Play some games with it. My dog Anakin's growling at the outside world because he's paranoid about everything. But anyway, if you're a Spike, you want to go ahead and go into your tournaments and you want to have the best chance of winning, sleeve up the best decks in the game, try them out, see how they do, and then tweak them to your liking. This deck is for you to do that with. Next, I'll probably be sharing SS3 list. I have Vados, which Vados is incredibly good in this format. Barrier-based decks. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline. I'm sorry that I took a while to stay, like, kind of away from the game, but I really just needed time just to get myself back into the mode of wanting to play. Cards that are coming out next set, Tournament of Power. Maidens are hands down the best cards that I've seen so far. The 2-drop Brienne that tutors a Maiden that has Barrier, and then next turn you can put the 5-drop on it, also has Barrier. Those cards are just way too good. You're going to see those a lot in the coming weeks, especially with Tournament of Power coming out. I'm excited about the blue cards. I really like the Trio to Danger Lock. I think that deck's going to be cute. I don't know how effective it's going to be, but it has potential, and I do like the fact that it has like a lock component. It's something that this game needs. It's a unique mechanic, and I think people that are complaining about it are just complaining to complain because honestly, they have nothing better to do. Like, anytime that a game is going to do something that steps outside of its own space that it's in and does something brand new and takes a component from a different game, like, I'm all for it. And I think that we really just need to let the set be spoiled, enjoy the cards that are coming out, and honestly, just focus on enjoying the game. Like, we spend too much fixating on the results, or we spend too much fixating on, cards that we feel are broken or overpowered, when really at the end of the day we should just be happy that we're playing with anime cards and we're having the time of our lives. And yeah, formats can be stale. People are saying that locals are dwindling, and honestly, a lot of that has to do with we've seen a lot of these cards a lot. A lot of these decks are similar to what we've been playing before, and that always happens. A new set's coming out, so people are winding down. People want to play with new cards, but we have Hartford coming up before the Tournament of Power releases. I'm trying to make myself available for that event. Of course, this is one of the decks that's going to be in the rotation for playing. Ultimately, it could be this SS3 or a yellow base deck. I mean, Dr. Mew's also pretty saucy, Pan saucy, Caulifla saucy. I have some of those decks coming down the pipeline too, but I want to make sure that they're hyper competitive before I put them out there, because I just don't want you guys to take those and just be like, oh, this deck's good. I just want everyone to be able to enjoy the list and actually go to the locals, put up good results, and even if you've never gotten your first place finish, like, that's my goal. My goal is to help everyone get better, and regardless of my own results, I could care less. If I can impact you, help you get better, help you win that first local, or help you top in an event, that's all that matters to me. I really appreciate everything this community's done for me. Tons of support. Everyone I've met is absolutely incredible. I've had an amazing time of my life in San Jose, as I told you guys before, and I really look forward to traveling to more events. I will be at Gen Con as well, always. I go every year. It's the best thing you could ever do if you are a nerd, or if you just like conventions, go to Gen Con. Anyway, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, personal crises, feel free to message me on Facebook. Shoot something in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you have people that are friends of yours that haven't subscribed, you should get them to subscribe too. More subscriptions is better for everybody, because we need to get better together, because we're all scrubs. But anyway, thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed the content. Okay, bye!